Paul's not having it.
To the Carpet Guys song.
You need a DJ Godfather
You're
remix.
listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
It's like downtown Judy Brown.
Dude, we have a full house today. Dude.
Yes.
We have one. Are we on? Are we good? Yeah. All right. Ooh, cut off. Yeah.
It's like a cross between Pete Tong and downtown Judy Brown.
Yeah.
That's good.
Not a lot of people know.
The sexier voice of both of them.
That's what MTV was actually music. What's up, everyone? Paul Paslakis, Salvatore Kuzmano, Brad Weisgerber. We are Inside Real Estate. Awesome. In the house. Today we have the Carpet Guys and Girls. Gals. In the studio. We have Joe Zago.
Yep.
And we have Heather Alessi. How are you?
Good
Fantastic.
morning.
Good morning, guys. So just for the national audience out there, these guys are like a local company who have done a really amazing job with their marketing. They do carpet, obviously. And really their story is really interesting. So I really want to get into your story, how you got to where you're at. I think it transcends all avenues. Obviously, we're a real estate show, but you guys are tied in. And also your marketing has been on point. Everybody knows who you guys are. And that's a testament for you guys and what you've done with your marketing. So kudos to that. So today we're going to talk about that. It's going to be all about you guys. So, Joe, you have an interesting story. At one point, you had like nothing, right?
A few times.
Yeah, right? So, Joe, just for everybody, it's an interesting story. Like, he didn't have heat in his house. He failed a lot of times, and I think failure is necessary to be successful. And you took that failure and actually did something with it instead of just saying, "Oh, woe is me. Like I don't have anything. What am I going to do?" And you just wallowed in it. You like picked yourself up and did something with it. So give me like the background of like that part of the story, and then we'll move on from there.
There's many times in my life that I played the victim role though too. It's not like I didn't do the whoa. You know, I did the poor me for a while, but it just doesn't work.
This isn't working out.
You know, like I want, you know, like a lot of people, I want to blame other people, and you know, the world screwed
fault.
me. You know,
Trump did it.
Let's stay off the politics.
So what happened? So you were you were selling. By the way, he sold Kirby vacuums as well. We've had a few people in here that have sold vacuums, which is really interesting.
I think I sold car radios in high school.
You did.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. So did you go door to door doing Kirby?
Yeah. When I was,
that's a tough racket, dude.
It was, you know, I was in a lot of trouble when I was a teenager. My parents were both good people, good school teachers, and weren't consolidated schools. I mean, they were really respected, and I was the jackass that went to, you know, I mean, we were trying to be on TV. We wanted to be on America's Funniest Home Videos, so I got a whole bunch of kids to pitch in $10 a piece because I knew I'd get expelled for it. And I knocked over the school Christmas tree in the middle of the library in front of everybody while they were recording something.
Man,
and, you know, I mean, I was an embarrassment to my parents. I mean,
I would have given you $10.
Yeah, a lot of people did. Half of them didn't pay though. But, man. But I mean, I was a rotten kid, man. I was just, and it wasn't that I just sought. I sought to be kind of the center of attention.
Yeah, you like that. You're right.
When I was younger, my parents, my mom really paid a lot of attention to me. My dad as well came to my baseball games and stuff when I was a kid. But then over time, I kind of sought the attention of the neighborhood kids, and my parents kind of, like a lot of kids, you know, your parents stopped meaning something to you for a while, and then.
You're a little.
And I got in a lot of trouble. You know, I mean, I still remember the address to the Macomb County Youth Home, 380 North Rose Road.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah.
But you know, rightfully so. I got slapped pretty hard when my parents couldn't bail me out of stuff, and I went to a boarding school out in Massachusetts for 3.5 years. And when I got out, I just didn't want to listen to what anybody had to say. I just wanted to kind of, you know, dance the beat of my own drum. And I was out there for about 6 months, and then when I came back to Michigan, I was living in my aunt's basement in Clinton Township, and I was, you know, doing like a lot of couch potato late teenagers do, you know.
Yeah.
And she said, "You got to get a job or you got to get out."
Watching a lot of Maury.
And
You were not the father.
I think it was Jenny Jones and Ricky Lake, and who was the other? Mark Wahlberg had a show back then.
He did? I don't remember that.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, I didn't watch
But
it.
anyways, I looked at the newspaper and I just circled some random things that I found. And one job was Jack's Car Wash up on Telegraph, and I figured that'd be good. I get $10 an hour, and I'll make tips and meet a bunch of pretty girls, get free car washes. And I went there first.
Were you the towel guy? Which guy were you?
I didn't get the job. So the other job that was in the paper was shampooing carpets for $400 a week. I'm like, oh man. But I had to get a job, otherwise my aunt was going to kick me out.
You had to get something, right?
It was a blind ad I thought I was going to be like the shampoo boy, but what it was selling Kirby vacuum cleaners door to door. But I didn't find that out for like a week because the way their interview process was
They
kinda,
slid you in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, once
In
it
the
was
training.
once it was revealed to me, and I got all excited about it because like my boss was like this 26-year-old guy that was going to be a millionaire, and he had this gold nugget bracelet that had to be way more than me. I mean, it was like, man, this guy's killing it.
He's doing well, right?
So I went home and I told my aunt, I said, man, I could be a millionaire in 5 years. And she's like, get a real job, and everyone told me you can't do it. And the more people told me you can't do it, the more it inspired me to just shut them up and show them that I could do it. Because I would have quit like everybody else.
You had a chip on your shoulder, right?
I
At
just
that
did,
point?
and I just didn't want to fail.
Yeah.
And so I did that for 7 years.
Holy
Whoa.
cow.
And
Good job.
Look at Brad's face.
At 20 years old, I was making between $60,000 and $80,000 a year selling vacuum cleaners door to door. And
So you did well.
My parents were making $40,000 a year being teachers for 30 years.
Right.
So I at that point I just realized,
Did you feel like you made it at that point?
I got to the point where I was like, well, I was way ahead of all my friends.
Yeah,
and, I had the new
yeah.
car, and all my friends were driving a station wagon or something.
Right.
I lost my license a dozen times in the process, but I was always rebellious.
Job of a kid, dude.
I just like once you start breathing and looking around you and seeing that you're ahead of the people that were your peers at the time,
Yeah.
then you for me, I got complacent a lot of times.
Yeah. You're comfortable.
And then you get slapped, something else hits you really hard, and then you get off your ass and figure something
Life will
else
slap
out.
the shit out of you.
Yeah,
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So I did that for a while, and then and then I got out of it and was selling refrigerators at Sears, sold cars at Birmingham Chrysler and another dealership down the road, and so I knew sales was my thing,
Right.
and
Anyone that can cut it door-to-door sales is your thing.
Yeah, if you can do door to door, dude, if you're knocking on someone's door and like, hey, because you come to my door, I'm like, no, I'm not converting to whatever you're wanting me to convert to, and no, I don't want your vacuum.
well, it was tricky because believe it or not, like some offices had preset appointments where they would call the customer and say, we'll give you a free carpet shampoo if you take a look at our product. You don't have to buy anything. And the reality was, we'd go to this house and we'd put this Kirby vacuum on the floor, and within 30 seconds, you watch their body language being from like the standoffish person to someone that's like in shock that you're pulling so much crap out of their floor that their kids are crawling around on.
I mean, there's nothing more powerful than showing someone how much shit is actually in your carpet.
How dirty their house
and
really
so
is.
it was really it's creative sales. I mean, when we got to the house, those were preset appointments. But for 3 of the years, I was just knocking door to door, and it sucked in the wintertime. I'll tell you that with some dress shoes,
especially
I
in
had some
Michigan,
$40 Giorgio Bertini dress shoes on that would dye my feet black. From
Nobody has
and so you'd knock on the door and you'd give them a roll of paper towel and say, hey, we're giving away free cleaning supplies. Anybody been by today to give you these? And they say, no. Well, here, this is yours. You stick it in your hand. I'll be right back.
Wow.
You don't even tell them what you're doing. You just come back to the van, get the Kirby, and put your head down and shuffle your feet and walk in the house.
You just got to get in there, right?
And they say, what are you doing? Well, you get to keep that just for taking a look. I'll be out in 5 minutes. And then that 5 minutes turns into like an hour and a half. Yeah. And it was the most amazing process because you'd be in this woman's house that wasn't expecting you. It's 3:00 in the afternoon. Her husband's still at work. She has a vacuum cleaner in her closet that her husband just bought her that she thinks works perfectly fine. And within an hour, you're turning this person that was totally standoffish into somebody that's fighting with her husband over the phone that she has to have this thing.
That's wild.
Willing to get divorced over this thing. Because and the husband's like wanting to kill you.
Right. Yeah. It's like, get out of my house. Dude.
But we would sell. I mean, I think the national average was like 1 out of 5.
No way.
So once you're in the house, it was like 1 out of,
good.
because it was that impressive. If you followed the structure and you did the whole demo,
I mean,
So
obviously,
the Kirby vacuum was also badass, right?
yeah, I mean,
like,
I've got one from 25 years ago from
Yeah.
when I used to sell them. It still works. My
Yeah.
parents have one that I sold them. It
Right.
still works.
They're still around.
But
Yeah.
but they're people are buying a $150 vacuum cleaner that they thought was great, and then here we are with a $1,500 vacuum cleaner, and we're selling them.
It's funny because that like fast forwarding. Now you're selling the actual carpet.
Right.
Right.
But luckily I sold quality stuff because it really was the best product
Right.
that there was of its
You
kind.
believed in the product.
Yeah, absolutely. How could you,
You
not
have
if you
to,
actually
right?
seen it?
Yeah.
And the customer becomes a believer too when they see it. So
Right.
it was, after doing that for a lot of years, I kind of got in the knack of helping people.
Yeah. Well, it also taught you the
and
skill set to sell. I think, like to be able to again, you have to believe in the product, but being able to sell, I think you sell yourself. People that are in sales, I believe, can do a lot of different things if they can sell well.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think that, not to knock anything about college, but I think that
I think college is bullshit,
Real
by the
life
way.
experience, I think, is, the world's run by C students and people that were a lot of,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at you.
I
You
knocked
barely
over the
made
Christmas
it.
tree in 10th
Yeah.
grade, so I completed 9th grade. I have a 9th grade education.
That's all. That's crazy, dude.
My boarding school was not accredited. I went and got a GED, a good enough diploma.
Really,
when
you
I was
did?
19. Yeah.
No kidding.
A
That's-
good enough diploma. I've
You never heard that?
Never heard
It's
that.
good enough. You never heard that?
Never heard it. That's
I
awesome.
know a lot of friends that got the GED.
I did.
Yeah.
And then I went to college.
You did go to college. Yeah, college is bullshit.
I went to college every time I was on
It's a
probation.
racket.
Did you?
Because I wanted to.
Guys,
I think it depends on what you do.
do people realize what it's happening?
I
He
hope
goes-
my doctor went
I
to
mean, when
college.
I
This guy,
when I
he's
was in my
super
20s.
successful. He's like, during my probation stint, I would go get credits.
I think I was like 20 and I stole the books from the bookstore or something. I got put on probation, so every time,
That's hilarious. All right,
I was rotten, man.
so you that's good.
I try to give back as much as I can now to try to break even on the karma scale.
yeah,
Because
There
I
you
figure,
go.
I really, really like make it a conscious effort to help as many people as I can nowadays. Because I took a lot from the community and a lot from.
but it wasn't like you're a bad person.
Yeah, I did some bad stuff, man. That made me a bad person. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I love the transparency.
it's-
Nobody's perfect.
I was a bad apple, dude, but I fixed it. I fixed it.
Like my mom would always say, "Oh, you have a good heart." Yeah, but I steal shit. Like I'm a shoplifter. I was rotten, man. I had no conscience walking in the mire when I was. Now I always send people to Meijer because I say support Michigan businesses.
Yeah.
But I used to. I was rotten, man. I was
That's awesome.
I don't know why my parents were so good, and I just had this knack in me when I was a teenager that was so.
That's
rotten.
interesting.
I just,
All right, so you were a rotten kid. You sold carpets. Now let's fast forward a little bit.
I never sold drugs. That was a
That's
good
good.
thing.
That's
Because
good.
a lot of kids I grew up with did that. And I
yeah,
didn't do anything
no
like
drugs
that,
for you.
so
That's good. So then what did you do after the Kirby thing? So you kind of jumped around. You did the car sales stuff. What made you get into carpets? I mean, that's an
When
interesting
I was
transition.
it was around 2000 or 2001, I saw an Empire commercial on TV.
Yeah.
And I remember Empire when I was
Not the TV
when I-
show.
No.
No.
The Empire.
588-23, not those guys.
They have good marketing too, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I remember hearing the jingle, and I said, man, I lived in Chicago for 6 months when I was a teenager. When I was
Sure you did.
when I was in trouble.
Yeah, why not?
Uh,
Why not?
it was a fun summer. But I remember the commercials were on in Chicago constantly. So the first time I heard one in Michigan, I said, "Oh man, that company's a good company to work for." And what made me think that was because I constantly saw them on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, if they're on TV, they've got to be good.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and at the time, I was selling refrigerators at Sears, and it wasn't really going anywhere.
Yeah, Sears didn't really work out for anybody, really. So,
I had a great boss, though, man. He was cool. But and another lady that I worked with was also awesome. I have horrible ADD, as you can obviously see.
it's good. No, it's good. I love where we're at right now.
We
This is
all
great.
do.
Yeah.
So if I could do it, you could do it too.
Yeah.
Because this guy's an idiot.
That's the real point.
No,
of
That's
this.
how I
not.
really motivate people.
Yeah.
I just show people what an idiot I am. But I was at my buddy's house, and I said, let me call that number, and I wanted to get a job there because I knew that, and I already sold Kirby vacuum cleaners up in, for several years up in that point. And so, I mean, I know why carpet got destroyed, from the
Right.
sand and the dirt and not cleaning it properly. And
Yeah.
so I figured I already was somewhat of a carpet expert.
Right.
And when I went in there, they were looking for people that came from New York Carpet World or Clyde's, and I didn't have any carpet sales experience, so they didn't take me. And I was just very persistent, and the persistence I got from being, from being so oppositional and not wanting to anybody tell me that I couldn't do something.
Right.
And so I kept digging at it, and after about
Finally, they're like, we're just you gotta
20
hire this guy.
attempts of talking to people higher and higher up the food chain, finally somebody said, this guy's motivated, man. Give him another interview.
Right.
And I got in there, and I didn't know anything about carpet besides fuzzy side up. That's all. Yeah. And
That has so many weird connotations.
I
right?
had a boss that was like, God, that guy was like, he was a drill sergeant, man. He wanted to fight me in the parking lot once.
No
he
way.
would have killed me.
I feel like
man.
you don't do well with authority.
No, he would have killed me, man. I knew when to back down on that one, man, because he was crazy.
That's awesome.
But
So you did that.
I
How
did
long
that
did you do
for
that for?
I don't know, 5 years or something.
What did you do at the company? Like, what was your role there?
Oh, sales, just
Okay.
direct sales. I was an independent contractor. The company set up appointments from the television ads.
Yeah.
And where I came from, I treated those leads with more respect than I think most of my fellow salespeople did, because I came from a background of having to go door to door to generate my own leads.
You coveted those leads.
Right.
So this
You
is
know,
that transcends a lot of things. A lot of people when they're given something,
They don't.
They
treat it
don't-
with
they don't
respect.
treat 'em with respect.
Yeah. And I struggle that with my own company now because I struggle with a lot of our salespeople failing to do follow up with people because they know that if we give them 3 customers today, they're just going to get 3 more tomorrow.
it's an age old problem, man. When
Yeah.
people get given leads, and we deal with it in the mortgage industry,
Yeah.
right? So
I mean,
Leads cost a lot of money.
like
dude, it's hard
when
to
you
get
have
a
to
lead.
generate your own at bats, right? And like you said, going door to door, like you get a newfound respect for when someone's like, "Hey,
Hey, here's
this
someone
guy
to call."
called. He actually wants to set an appointment." Right?
Yeah.
Like that's a sale.
Yeah.
And
Thank
that-
God we do
that's a
good work
buying sign.
because
Yeah.
marketing is by far 100% the most expensive part of overhead that we have in our business.
Yeah.
Any business,
we
pretty much.
we serve a lot of people every year, and it generates a lot of money that comes in. But there's a lot of overhead expense, and marketing is by far the most expensive one. Thank God we do good work because we get a lot of referral business as well, and a lot of people recommend us. And
So let's fast forward. So you did that, and then how did you get to the point? Because there's a part of your story where the power the heat got shut off.
Okay.
You're in your how do we get to there?
Yeah, where is that in
all
those
right,
timelines?
all right. Let's go back. I was probably 35 years old, 34 years old.
What year is this?
This is when we met.
2007. I met you in 05, I think, or 06. 05. MySpace. Yeah.
Holy shit!
It was 05 or 06, and I bought a house in 2003. It's my first house that I bought in St. Clair Shores, and it had an in-ground pool, and I'd run my morning appointments at Empire. They'd call and wake me up because I was still irresponsible to some degree. So
He was out with me the night before.
probably till
picking
5
me
in the
up
morning. I just
Yeah.
with no driver's license.
Yeah.
I had a license back then.
No, you didn't.
I
Did
did.
you?
Yeah, I was good back then. It was in my early 20s. I lost it a couple times for too many points, but yeah. Anyway, I would run my morning appointments and I'd get done with them quickly, and I'd get 3 appointments, and I'd usually sell 2 or 3 out of them, and then I'd go home and lay in the pool for like an hour and a half, and then have my cell phone on the deck so that when they'd call and wake me up so I can get my little nap in, and then it'd give me my next appointments. And
Tough life.
I remember laying in
Yeah,
the
that's a
pool,
tough life.
and I'm thinking, man, my mortgage is on a 15-year mortgage. By the time I'm 42 years old, my house will be paid off. I've got a Cadillac. I've got a $70,000 a year job. Man, I'm killing it, man. I got life by the nuts, man. I was so I was so feeling good, and it was like within a year of that, I wound up getting in trouble. I was at a bar, and I had 4 drinks in one night, and I said, I'm going to stop drinking for a little bit. And, the limit was 0.10. And the week before that, there was a cop that I kicked out of the bar that I was doing nightclub promotions for.
You kicked him out.
I kicked him out because he was like touching on one of the girls, and so he was like, "You know who I am?" I said, "I don't care who you are," and we kicked him out. And the owner of the bar said, "No, that person's a regular. You don't do that." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know." He was touching on Ashley, and I
I
like
like
Ashley,
it.
and so anyways, the next week, I had 3 or 4 drinks over the course of the night, and it's the end of the night. It's 2:00 in the morning, and everyone's leaving the bar. And I look across the street as I'm going out in the parking lot, and I see 4 cop cars across the street. And I was like, that might be the guy that I kicked out last week. So I called a cab, and I'm with the owner of the bar for about a half hour, and it's cold out this time of the year. And so she goes, "Joe, it's 2:30. I got to go home." She goes, "Go wait in your car." So the second I turn my ignition on my car, woo! They come across the street. The car didn't even leave the parking lot.
Oh, dude.
And as that happened, the Rainbow Cab Company pulled up, and so
They still popped you?
What's that?
They still popped
Yeah,
you?
because I was operating a motor vehicle. I had the keys. And
So in
ignition,
Michigan,
and
just so everyone understands, you're not allowed to be in the car with the key in the ignition, and they consider
car
that-
started. Yeah,
they
the minute the
consider-
lights turned on, I'm
if the
operating.
keys
I'm
not
pretty
in-
That's
I don't-
nationwide.
I
I don't think his car started if the key's in the ignition.
sure. No,
now.
car turned on because I turned the heat on.
But
he
I think
probably
they can
knows.
get you with just the key in the ignition now.
I think
too.
if it's even if it's
Either
in your
way.
possession, because I think
Yeah.
in Arizona, a friend of mine that happened too, and she was just sleeping in
You
her
might
car.
be okay if you're sleeping in the back seat. I don't know, but
I know
That wouldn't be a good base
nationwide.
to sleep in the cold.
Drunk driving is pretty harsh, but in Michigan, especially in some jurisdictions, I mean, I had a DUI, and I know what it's like, and it is harsh, very very harsh here in Michigan. It's very expensive.
I was right on the
Very
line. I was
expensive.
exactly a .11, and I
Yeah.
didn't leave the parking lot, so they were somewhat lenient with me. They dropped it down to impaired on my as my first offense,
Yeah.
and but yeah, I mean,
Was
as
that
much
same
as I
guy there?
hated it at the moment, because I lost my license and had to go, it was really a really good thing for me that it
Shook you.
happened because I mean, there's the one time I got caught, there were probably a dozen times before that I probably was even
100%.
higher up the ladder than I really was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that I
And
definitely
this is
shouldn't have been
prior
driving.
to
in a-
Uber. Uber's really changed that. So
Yeah.
but, yeah.
Yeah, it has.
So okay,
But-
you get in trouble.
So I got in trouble. I wound
Again.
up losing my license.
Okay.
I couldn't do the job because I had to drive.
Right.
And so, I lost that income that I thought was great. And so now my house is starting to go behind on the bills and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of time, there was a job offer that was lingering out there in Arizona for Express Flooring. It's another floor covering company that a lot of people that I worked with at Empire wound up going to Arizona to work for this company. And they kept telling me, you should come down to Arizona, come down to Arizona. I was like, I don't want to move to Arizona. What's in the desert? I've never been there. You know,
It's hot.
I don't want to go there. I got a job selling basement waterproofing at a company over by the airport. And I did that for a few months. And I was good at it. I just hated it because I was selling pain, you know, like
Right.
nobody wants to buy a pacemaker. You know, you have to buy it or you die.
So
Nobody
true.
wants to buy basement waterproofing because it's like, if you don't do it, it's, you know, that $5,000 repair is going to be a $10,000 repair in 2 years. And if you still ignore it, then it's going to be a $20,000 repair. So you got to do it. And so it wasn't selling fun like I was used to. I mean, it was a fun challenge to sell Kirby vacuums. It was fun to sell
fear.
cars.
You're selling on fear now, right?
Yeah, and I hated
Kind
it.
of like us selling debt.
Yeah. Hey,
moving it around.
Yeah, you want some debt?
Hey, we're selling.
But you're relieving the pain. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, you know, people buy a lot of times for pain. They either buy for pain or, you know, to avoid pain.
Pain or pleasure, yeah.
And so I did that for a little while, and then I wound up just getting out of that altogether. I got depressed, and I just, you know.
So talk to me how you started the company, because we're literally running out of time.
Okay, I got to Arizona, did that for 2 or 3 years. When I came back to Michigan, I was either go back to work for Empire, and I went there, talked to had an interview over there, and there was a couple very specific reasons why I left Empire.
Yeah.
Couple things.
You don't have to get into it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And when I got there and I talked to them, I just realized, no, this is the reason why I left. I don't want to go back into this.
It reminded you, yeah.
Yeah. So I the economy tanked. It was 2009. You know,
Wasn't great then.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was
housing
you know,
market. People weren't spending money. Right.
Yeah, people were losing their houses in foreclosure.
Yeah. Nobody was
Everybody's
changing their
credit was
carpets.
bad.
Right. Yeah.
But I knew installers from when I worked at Empire that were not getting any work because the economy was tanked.
There's a vacuum.
What's that?
There's a vacuum of like people that wanted work that weren't getting work in
Right.
that industry, right?
Right. And the economy was horrible, and I made a little website, you know, on Wix.com. I had no money.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when I came back to Michigan, I lost my house that was here in Michigan in foreclosure. So my buddies that were living with me before were renting a house in St. Clair Shores as well, and the landlord wasn't paying the mortgage company. He was just taking their $1,400 a month
That happened
rent.
a lot.
Happened a lot.
So think
And
about
so
that.
the house went into foreclosure.
You're renting a house that goes into foreclosure. That happened a lot.
They had the
back then.
gas on illegally, and so when the gas company found out, they put a lock on the.
Is this guy related to you?
No. So they shut the heat off. So from October until January, there was a $3,000 debt on the gas bill. So the one roommate moved out, you know, and so me and my buddy were living in there, and that garage in that foreclosed house was the first warehouse for the carpet guys, because I that's where I stored all the carpet.
You just decided to do it. So what made you decide to do it? You know, because most people are too stricken with fear at that point.
I had nothing to lose. That's the reality
thing.
of
We
it.
talked
you know,
to Kyle. Yeah, we've heard this before.
You know, I mean, at the time I was 36 years old, and
Yeah.
my life was more out of control than it was when I was 16 years old, when I was in and out of juvie.
You felt like it was just chaos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I made a free website on Wix.com,
Uh-huh.
a free website builder.
I've done that.
And up in the upper right hand corner, there was a yellow banner that said "Free website created by Wix." So I put a yellow sunshine up there and put a whole bunch of little black lines around it to kind of camouflage it,
Get outta
because I
here.
didn't want people to know it was a free website.
Yeah.
After my bankruptcy, I had a credit card with a $600 limit, my Spirit Mastercard, because it was out of Barclay Bank out of the UK.
Yeah.
And all my other, you know, I lost everything else, so all my other credit cards were closed. And so with that $600 credit limit, I was able to buy carpet from a wholesale supplier locally that had a ton of inventory they couldn't sell. They couldn't move because
Bought
the
it
economy was
pennies,
tanking.
right?
And they had some carpet samples made for me. And so I went door to door, made flyers, went up and down the streets, and just put them in. I'd knock on people's door and say, "Hey, I'm starting a carpet company. I used to work for Empire, you know, and we got some really great deals. We don't have the overhead, so here, if you're ever in the market for carpet, keep me in mind."
That's how you started.
And then when I did the nightclub thing a long time ago, I had promoters, you know, that would go to the bars and spam people on MySpace and Facebook when it first came out to get people to come to the nightclubs. And so I said, if you refer anybody to me and they wind up buying carpet from me, I'll give you a $100 Visa gift card. And they're like, $100, you know? I mean, they were out
deal,
promoting
yeah.
for a free
Right.
bottle in a booth, you know, to look cool.
Yeah.
And so everybody needed $100. And so at the time, I had a few people that were just doing that. I had my girlfriend that I was dating at the time. She had, her hours got cut way back. From 40 plus to down to 10 or 12 or whatever per week, because the where she was working it wasn't doing as well, and she just got a new car, and she just got a new condo, and we kind of worked together because she would drive me to my appointments and take the cell phone and set up the appointments.
Because you can drive right now.
At the time, I couldn't.
Oh, shit.
And so
That's why he was walking door to door.
He's like, 5.
that's why I did it on my street, the street behind me.
Everybody on my block.
But
can't
it
even-
worked out great because she was really great with people, and she really helped me organize, because that's the one thing I still lack is organization. And she was really well organized, and she motivated
Let me ask you
me.
this. So that's 2009,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So that you're going
2009, 2010.
2010.
Yeah, yeah.
You're scrapping.
Yeah.
You barely are making it. Fast forward to 2019, right? And now, how many homes have you do a year?
We do about 15,000 a year now.
15,000. So think about that transition,
We
dude.
got
Think
30
about that.
salespeople and
I mean
60 office
that's
staff.
pretty impressive. I mean just like not. There's a lot.
But
I'm
the
sure that went
concept
between
is
there.
basic, and the concept I learned that first year. I had nothing to lose. I watched The Secret, the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just
And
believe
it's a
it.
book because I can't read. I read 3 pages. I forget the first page. I mean, I got to watch it on video.
I love you, Joe. This is
Um,
a great human.
And it's only audiobook or video. I can't.
I feel
I'm
you.
horrible
I
at
feel
reading.
you.
But so I watch this and I'm thinking, this whole thing about visualization and
Believing it.
Yeah. And so I said, I got nothing else to lose, because this was introduced to me 4 years before that at the waterproofing company, and I ain't listening to that. Well, the people that followed that were successful. The people that didn't follow that were like me. So I looked at my friends that weren't successful and saw the things they did and they didn't do, and I looked at the people that were successful that were my friends at one point that kind of left me behind, and I said, what are they doing differently?
Yeah, I
And-
think that's true. But by the way, I think for anybody that does anything in life, you have to have a belief system, whether it's The Secret or whatever. You've got to believe in what you're doing, and you've got to just believe that you're going to be successful. You've got to have a vision of that, right?
You got to have a vision. You have to have a roadmap. You have
Yeah.
to, and so you think of these unrealistic goals. And at the time, I mean, nobody was making any money, and I was obviously broke. And I said, I've always done really good at sales, but I've never really made a 6-figure income. What would it take to make $100,000? Well, I had no overhead, but a third of what a customer would spend would be on the material. A third of it would go to the installer, and a third of it would go to me. So in order for me to make my first year of 100,000 in sales, I had to figure out for me to make 100,000.
You broke it backwards.
I had to make $300,000 in sales. So I said, what would it take for me to sell $300,000 between April when we started and the end of the year? Well, we did the math. If I sold 2 out of 3, if I got in front of 3 customers per day, it would equal $300K.
So you broke it down. That's a lot. A
Right.
lot of salespeople need to do that.
But what I did is I wrote it down. I didn't just think about it. I
Right.
wrote it. It wasn't just a goal. I wrote it everywhere. We put sticky notes in my girlfriend's car in her rear view mirror. I mean, she was annoyed as hell with me.
Right.
But I put it in the refrigerator on the milk. I put it on the outside of the refrigerator on her alarm clock. On the mirror in the bathroom. 3 leads a day equals $300K. And at the end of the year, we did like $330,000 or $340,000. Like, oh my God, that really worked. Let's set another unrealistic goal. Let's go for $1 million. There's no way in hell it's ever going to happen. People are in business for 10 years before they hit $1 million. And we killed $1 million.
That's wild.
And then 3 million, then 6 million, then 11 million, then upwards
So
of
why do you
20.
why do you think people bought from you?
I think it's really the care factor. I think that a lot of businesses just hit it and quit it, get the money and
It's
run.
transactional.
And with
Super
us,
transactional. Right.
my girlfriend at the time really cared about the customer.
Yeah.
Over the phone when she'd set up their appointment, she would talk about their dog and their kids and everything else. And when I got to the house, it was already half sold because they loved her so much.
Yeah.
And I realized that whenever I sold something that really benefited the customer before it benefited me, I did great with it.
Yeah.
And so I made it a point to make sure we go above and beyond and really take care of the customer, not just give them okay, this will last. It's good product, and be out the door.
Yeah.
We didn't give them a 30-day or 90-day or 1-year warranty, even like the big stores give a 1-year warranty. I said, as long as you own your home,
I'm going to take care of you.
yeah,
I'm your guy.
and I'm committed to that.
Yeah.
And I was 100% genuine on that, and it went a long way because when customers would call us back with little issues or something, they were surprised. They're like, "Really, you're coming back? Yeah, we'll take care of it."
No, yeah. It's how we. I mean, that's how we build our business, dude.
I got a
That's the
bad
thing,
Yelp
right?
review at 11 o'clock at night, and I call and I
It
woke my
broke-
girlfriend
it
up.
broke
Can you
you.
drive me to Grosse Pointe? I gotta go there. I gotta go there. I gotta go
Yeah.
there. And I went there, at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, I just did whatever it took.
Yeah.
Somebody said always answer your phone. I always answered my phone.
I mean, these are okay. So just so you know,
Little
our-
things that a lot of people don't do.
Our business, even though they're different, right? We do mortgages, you do carpet, and Sal and Brad, we talk about this all the time. The pieces of success are really the same, right? We take care of our clients, we care, we are insane about service and making sure that everybody's taken care of.
You could even look at it from like a dealership perspective, right? The new car at this dealer is the same as the other one, but when you have a small issue or something needs to be taken care of, like those follow-up calls and the calls you have, hey, I don't like the way this rattle sounds on this, you know.
How do you handle the issues? Is
Right.
really the
Some of them
question.
are like,
if you
well,
minimize it and say,
yeah.
"Oh no, it's just this," you
No,
know,
no, I'll
then-
get, you'll just buy new
Oh, yeah,
carpet.
bring it in. Let's check it out. Right?
What does Google do? Why does everybody use Google instead of MSM or AOL or anything else? Because it gives the customer, the person searching, the best user experience. Their focus is not on just getting the most per click when you're buying clicks from people.
It's
Is
user
having a good
experience.
quality score. So
Yeah.
that way, you know, the customer gets the best user experience. And if I can somehow provide the best user experience, we come out to their house instead of them having to schlep to our place or go from store to store.
Yeah.
We give them, the best financing that's out there. We bring the samples right to their home. They can look at it underneath their lighting, next to their furniture.
You're making the experience as
Very
human and as in touch with that person as possible,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's how you built the business, which is a wild story, and we could probably spend 5 episodes on just how you built it. Now, another big piece. So, like the way I know about you guys personally is billboards, marketing. Your marketing is really on point, right? So, talk to me about your decision and at what point you decided to say, you know what, marketing is a big piece of what we do, and talk to me about the importance of it and how you decided to kind of go into that, your mentality.
Back when I started at Empire, the first thing, why did I call that company and want to leave my job so quickly?
brand.
Because I saw them on TV.
Yeah.
I said, they've got to be good. I've always saw them in Chicago. They're the best. And so I said, I've really got to be in front of people. And me always, even as a kid, wanting to be the center of attention,
Yeah.
it fit because I started with social media marketing and Craigslist and all the real cheap stuff, and then Google ad, pay-per-click. And back then, nobody was doing it, so I kind of got into it at the right
Yeah,
time.
just so
when the
everybody
clicks were
knows,
cheap.
back then it was the barrier of entry is much lower than it is today. Today it's
Right.
really crowded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's expensive. If I had to start it over right now, it'd be a whole different.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
different
Yeah, it's
ballgame.
like, shit, man, how much we can spend on this, right?
But I think I just got lucky. I did it in the right order, and then I started getting into print, and
I
then
don't
I
think
got
there's
into.
luck. I don't think there's anything like that.
There was a lot of trial and error, but I was,
You took advantage of opportunities, in my
Well,
opinion.
and the reality is now, right? Like, oh man, that's so expensive to get into it now. But there is something that people will be talking about in 4 or 5 years. That's the next platform for marketing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, where you get in on that low barrier to entry.
You've got to have a lot of irons in the fire, I think, right now.
I think if you resonate with people,
How do you resonate with people?
at their level,
Yeah.
at their perspective, they seem to listen to you more
Yeah.
and respect you because they know you're coming at them from a real point of
People are
you're
sick
real
of
with them.
being computerized and they want human interaction nowadays. I
Yeah.
feel like everything's so cold, right?
Yeah.
And I think people actually having a human help them that goes a long way. I think there's the pendulum swinging now the other way. So anyway, so you're starting to think, okay, how am I going to scale this business, right?
It was really, again, it was a lot of trial and error because there was times I remember when we were, 5 years ago or something, we were doing $6 or $8 million a year, and it was our best year. We never had a year go down. It was always, increasing every single year. But we were doubling the sales from the previous year, and I'm looking at the company bank account, watching it dwindle. I'm like, how is this happening? And within just a couple months, it was almost bankrupt, and I couldn't figure out why. And
You're losing money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and I couldn't see where's it leaking? Is somebody stealing? Is it And there actually was somebody stealing, but anyways, but not that much. I mean, where it was really happening was because I didn't have an understanding of. I didn't know how to read a profit and loss statement, and no other business owner.
That's why we have Brad.
No other business owner in my in my industry is going to help me. I'm their competitor.
No,
Right.
dude.
There's no manual of how to run a business, and so what I was spending on marketing to try to keep us busy was burying us. And we weren't tracking. We didn't have KPIs, key performance indicators to see, what kind of our return on investment are we getting from this spend.
Right.
And I didn't have any rules in place. I just kind of went with my gut. I said, oh, it's January. We're going to be slow. Let's boost up advertising.
Which
You know,
works,
and-
by the way. So your gut was probably right, but you weren't doing within the parameters.
But
of the
yeah,
business.
and I was
Too
way
much.
and
Yeah.
I was way backwards. I
Yeah, if
mean,
you don't have the numbers in front of you, your intuition will just want to be spend. As a business owner, you want to spend but you can lose your way if you go too crazy. That's why.
and
it
my
doesn't
same
work.
mentality of wanting to take care of my customers is I also wanted to really take care of my salespeople. I wanted to make sure they were busy.
Yeah.
So it's slow time. What do we
Yeah.
got to do to keep them busy? They got to pay their bills. So I doubled up advertisement. We have all these installers, and we've really handpicked some of the best installers in all of Metro Detroit. Really, literally. I mean, we got the best ones out there.
Yeah.
And how do I keep them? I got to keep them busy. So I was desperate to make sure that I would, and in doing so, I didn't have that balance. I didn't. I didn't stay in the parameters, and I kept them busy, but I almost bankrupt the company. In the
Luckily, you
process.
caught it early enough.
Luckily, very
A lot
very
of companies
lucky.
don't.
Yeah.
I mean, most businesses, they say
Or they
90%
do.
of businesses fail in the first
Yeah.
3 years, and really all it is they run out of money before they run out of errors.
Or if they catch it and then they freak out and spend more because they're like, oh man, I really got to pick this up and I'm going to spend more to drive the sales.
I think anybody, like even like real estate agents, a lot of times they'll want to spend on the next shiny object, but they're not really looking at the ROI, the return on investment. They're not really thinking about, okay, well, I'm spending all this money. Is it really effective? So how did you kind of hone it? Like, so you're spending all this money. You're kind of just spraying and praying, right? At that point, kind of a little bit.
At the time, yeah, to some degree, yeah.
Yeah, right. You just try to do everything. So, how did you button that up, and where did you decide to go? Because obviously, billboards are expensive. All this stuff does cost money. So, how did you kind of hone that in?
Luckily, I had a good relationship with my old boss in Arizona, and he's built a $50-60 million a year company.
Yeah.
They're doing same type of business, and he was able to be pretty transparent with me on some certain things. I went out there, I met with him.
That's awesome.
And I spent several hours, with him and just crunching numbers and things like that. And he says, if you succeed, you got to buy me a Rolls Royce one day, Joey. So it's on my goal list every single year is buy Jerry a Rolls. And half the people that read my goals, I put them out there publicly so everybody could read my goals. So that way it keeps me accountable. They're like, who's Jerry? I said, that's my old boss. Why would you want to buy your old boss a Rolls Royce? I said, because I owe him everything.
Yeah.
And but and it's actually really one of my goals.
That's
So
awesome.
Our whole
one
company-
day, one day, be able to do that.
Our whole company updates goals every day.
Really?
On spreadsheets, yes.
We should do that. We don't do that enough.
It's a good
personally.
thing.
Yeah.
We have.
What are some of your goals, Heather?
What
them
are
right here.
some of my?
Oh, well, hold
read
on.
them.
Oh, my
Hold
phone. No,
on.
never
Where
mind.
is my phone? I will tell
You
you.
pull
what
it
my
up.
goal is.
All right, you pull that up. Let us know when you get it. So today, your business today, what does it look like, and where do you want to take it?
We're at 14 in John R., so we're in a really beautiful building that we share with Brian Elias from Hanson's, and we actually occupy about the same amount of space as they do in their own building.
Wow.
And so we've stocked about $1.5 million, almost $2 million of inventory that we have on our shelves that we can put into somebody's house the very next day, which gives us huge advantage in the marketplace because
huge.
when you go to the box stores, then you got to buy it, and then
Let's get
you know,
shipped.
we
warehouse.
wait 2-3 weeks, and
Yeah.
half the time they don't even give you a real price. They give you an estimate at the store,
Yeah.
and then they send somebody out for $50 to go measure. Then after they measure, they come back with a price that's 30% higher because
Yeah.
we forgot to tell you about the waste
Very
factor.
extensive.
I've,
know,
do-
so
I've
we
done
really
that
provide a-
experience 3 times. It's not
We
good.
provide a great experience. I mean, if somebody calls us, today's Wednesday, we can put your carpet in tomorrow. We can be at your house today. You call us right now. We can be at your house this afternoon, sell you something, pick out something you like, and 9 times out of 10 it's on our shelf. We can put it in tomorrow morning.
So would
for
you say that you took a lot of the industry that you saw that didn't work and decided to like make it better? You know
Yeah,
what
but I mean, when I worked for Empire, they were the first next day company in the country. And so they really revolutionized
So you
it
saw
50
that
years.
work, yeah.
Yeah, and it was great to be a salesperson, be able to go out there and be at some person's house at 9 o'clock at night, and she says, I want that pink carpet.
Yeah.
No one has pink. I can do it for you tomorrow. Tomorrow work? Good. Take the stuff off your shelves and we'll move other furniture. I mean, it was great. So I took the best things that I learned from that company and from other companies,
Right.
and I discarded a lot of the things that I thought I really didn't like.
Yeah.
And it worked out great. Now, over time, I found that some of the things that I didn't like, I find, there's a reason why they did it. I get it now. You know, I became kind of enlightened to a lot of the processes and procedures that at the time I thought were stupid. But yeah,
I've got Heather's goals here. Be successful in my career and love what I do. Make enough money to support my family independently. Purchase a red classic convertible car or a fast car.
Yes.
That's
One
awesome.
of them, if you go down, is to buy a new house, and I've been working with you guys
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
a mortgage.
We're gonna
so.
figure that out.
But if you
And
look
I
at that,
actually,
can I see that?
yeah, let's look at Joe's.
No, I was going to show her the structure of this real quick.
Oh, yeah.
So this is like something
every,
your whole
every,
company
every
does.
single person, whether you're somebody that's an employee in the warehouse that's just baling old pad and recycling the
Yeah.
pad, or somebody that's a CFO of the company or company vice president, even myself, they've got lifelong goals. They've got 10-year goals written down here. That shows when they updated them last. What are my goals for the month? What are my goals for the week? And what are my goals for today?
Where would I
and
like
we
to
update
travel?
it every single day. It's got travel bucket lists, so we can kind of have a roadmap in life.
So you're really big on setting goals and working towards them,
I
right?
mean,
Because that's what got
Stephen
you
Covey
to
says if you've ever, I didn't read it, I
sharpen
listened
your
to it.
saw. Yeah,
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The first chapter of it, he's talking about think with the end in mind.
yeah.
You know, what do you want people to say at your funeral? How did you affect people? What did
Yeah.
you do? What mark did you make in this earth? And how did people? They'll forget your name, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Right.
And so if you think of where you want to be at the very end, what do you want to accomplish along this along this path? We only have one life, as far as I know. So I mean, and if we have more, then great. I probably won't remember this one because I don't remember.
Right.
The last
I'm going to come
one.
back like as a cow or something. If I
Can you imagine being a mosquito?
No.
And they're flying around. You're just whacking them. They're saying, "Hey, it's me, it's your buddy." Get out of here.
You live for like 14 days.
Oh my
But
god.
it'd be a fish fly.
Yeah.
But
That's even less.
but we only have one chance at this, as far as we know.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna do it, where do we want to be at the end of the game? Where do we want to be when we're 60? Where do we want to be when we're 50?
Sometimes it's
and how
hard.
do we and set up the KPIs to know where we are this week, this month, this year, to reaching those longer term goals. And if you have that roadmap, then
But sometimes people are so, they feel, and you've been there, right? You feel like you're so buried and you're so below sea level, right? That it's like, how can I possibly have these goals when I can't even see above water right now?
The only reason I'm able to do it is because I've been underwater a few times. And I mean, I've got a 9th grade education. I've been kicked out of every school that I've been in. I've been in and out of juvia. I've been arrested I don't know how many times when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And as an adult, even as a young adult, I got in a lot of trouble. And, so odds are way against me. At 35 years old, I was homeless.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if this idiot right here can do it, and all I did is watch other idiots. I saw other idiots that were just like me that took themselves out of dust themselves off and figured out a way to become successful. They find a way to make things happen.
Yeah.
And I said, if I do what they do, then I'll get what they got.
Yeah.
And I was just open-minded enough to try it.
But you also had to put the work in, right? It's
Yeah,
not.
you gotta
it's-
put
you
the
can't
work
just
in.
put something on a piece of paper and think it's gonna. Like some
Right.
people, like you got to
Do it.
do it all. Like
Yeah.
it's you
You
got
got to have
really,
substance. If you wish
yeah.
in one hand, shit in the other one, which one's full fast?
It's not gonna work. Yeah. Right.
I mean, you
My
got
grandma
you
used to
gotta
tell me
work
that all
towards
the
it.
time.
really.
Every day she'd tell me that.
People always say like they'll look at something and, like a friend or someone that knows, they're like, man, you're doing really well, like blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, it's a struggle every day. Like life is built to like kind of like knock you down over. I mean, everybody that's successful, people that just look at the success.
But
right?
wasn't it great that you fell off your bike?
Yeah, you got to
Because
fail.
because if you didn't hurt,
You
wouldn't.
gotta fail.
I
Wouldn't
don't want to
get
do that
better.
again. You wouldn't have tried harder.
Yeah.
The
And
next
whether
time.
it's business, history, personal, like the largest wins are typically after a big defeat.
Yeah, they
right?
said
all the
Babe
time.
Ruth was
Like,
a strikeout king.
I had
but no one looked at him as that. They
$100
looked
in
at-
my bank account 2 years ago.
I remember that.
No one knew, right?
I knew
had
that.
a brand new Rolex on. I was like, people were like, man, you're killing it. I'm like,
Sal was in a bad
no,
place.
I am
yeah.
not, dude.
I'll
Like, I'm
never
about
forget it. Yeah.
take this back. And I was like, but after that, I swore to myself,
different.
like, I'm going to have to earn this.
Sal
right? And I'm
changed.
going to have to, like, bust it out every single month after month.
Sal looked at me and goes, man, I'm not happy right now. And he looked like he was in a bad place. And I'm like, and he's like, ever since then, dude, he just made a choice. And then he just kept moving up.
But
so
it's that pain that made you
Gotta
look
have
to
the pain.
yourself. So you never want to go through that pain again.
It was pain, embarrassment, almost like what have I been doing wrong? And the reality is kind of like you said, right? Like I don't think I like envisioned what I could do, right? Because if you can't see where you want to be, like you'll never know the steps to get there, right?
Yeah.
And those steps aren't always clear, but you know it's going to be a road up, right? Like
Yeah.
you said, everyone always sees the guys and like, oh, this is awesome. You know, must be nice to wake up and be able to get into your car and drive and have this awesome business, but
it's like
reality,
dude,
they'd have no idea.
how many little things. It's like every day you've got to move the needle forward a little bit, and sometimes you move it forward 2 ticks and you go back 1, and sometimes you go back 2 and you move it 1. But you're always like, it's like a fight, and people don't kind of get that. Like if you're in the business, sometimes they want to point fingers, like, oh, the market's bad. That person did this person did that. Like,
Yeah, I'm really slow.
If you're
Why?
a victim, it's just you can't be a victim in this business. You just can't.
Once you find an excuse that you can accept and believe yourself, then you're toast.
You're toast.
I mean, you
Yeah.
just can't buy the bullshit sandwich. You just
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
Well, all right. So we're running out of time. We do a thing called 3 questions on every show. So we ask 3 random questions. One's always the same.
It's 2 random questions.
And then I'll let you guys tell the audience how to get a hold of you. So first question: what scares you and you, Heather? What scares you?
I'm scared of heights.
Okay. Yeah.
How high?
How high is what's like? Some people are like ladder high, and other people are like plane high.
Plane high.
Okay.
Not ladders. I'm fine on a ladder.
I'm scared of cancer.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
definitely
terrifying,
scared of.
because there's no fucking way to. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. There's no way to like fix that.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's afraid of that.
I try not to think about it because I do believe in the law of attraction, and so I really try to
yeah.
think positive. But yeah, I'm scared for health. Health
Because you
health
can't
issues.
see that coming. Sometimes, yeah, it's like a silent killer. So, all right, next question is: if you could apologize, either one of you, or both of you actually, if you could apologize to one person in your past, who would it be and why? But not your parents, because you probably have already apologized to them.
For me, my
Yeah.
son's mom. I wish I would have. I wish I would have gave it more of an effort instead of being so selfish at the time when
Yeah,
before her.
That's
and I,
strong.
We separated.
that's strong.
For me, my mom, because I was always hard on her growing up. She was a single mom.
Oh, you probably messed her up bad.
Didn't you say
Well,
besides
she-
your parents?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
okay.
besides your parents.
Besides your parents. Well, him is beside his parents, but your mom probably. You're
Well,
probably.
I always apologize. So
always apologize.
yeah,
that's good.
So no one besides my mom.
That's good. And then I like this one. So if you could spend a week in somebody else's body, who would it be and why?
Oh, jeez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You go first. On this one, I got to think about this one.
Yeah.
I have to think too.
Really?
Maybe you, Joe.
Oh, that's interesting. So that's really. A
I mean, are
week in
porn
his
stars
body?
included or not?
Anybody you want, bro.
I thought we were keeping this PG.
Well, I mean, it's your own imagination in this one. I didn't say who.
Anybody you want, man. I don't know. What are you going to be doing in his body for a week?
Oh, gee.
No, you go first. Let me think. I got to think.
Well,
this
she
one
already
through real
answered
quick.
it. She did.
She answered,
Oh,
but she didn't say
Let me
why.
think. Why? Because I just to get in his mind and see what he thinks.
Well, you're not in his mind. You're in his body.
Well,
Somebody that's
You-
alive right now.
Anybody. The answer is really very, very open. Or the question is actually.
You have
Yeah,
your,
that's a
you have
tough
your mind, but you're in their body and having their experiences with their circle.
But am I
Jimmy
doing the,
Hoffa.
am I doing the Matrix though? I'm like sucking all their information they have in their brain and
No, he
keep
said no brain,
you
just
live,
body.
You're living in
just
their
live in their
lives,
body
yeah.
with my
Their
mind.
body, their
Someone that
circle.
lives in California. I just want to be on the beach.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would want to be like Elon Musk and see what his life is like for.
I wouldn't want to have again. You would have your mind in Elon Musk's body. You might as well go work at Burger King.
No, but I want to see what his life is like. That's what I'm saying. I
Probably
want.
Zac Efron, man. He gets all the chicks, man.
I'd go be like The Rock and just
No, I
go
don't-
smash stuff.
No. I really don't know. I mean,
Zac Efron's a good one, man. He's a good looking.
Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, I could see that. All right. So you probably just really like your body, and you're just really happy.
no. Like I wish I looked like Zac Efron. I mean, no, I
All
don't know.
right. That's all right. So
That's a tough question.
It
I
is.
really don't know.
It's an interesting. Think about it. We'll put it in the comments if you send it over. So, listen, man. Honestly, you guys have really for us being in a business where we started a year ago, and hearing your story. I think anybody hearing your story, it is super inspirational, and understanding that it isn't easy. The road is never really easy, and everybody's road is a little bit different. But the pieces of success are all kind of the same, no matter where you're at, right? So I really, really appreciate you guys coming on the show,
Thanks for
talking to our
having us.
audience.
Yeah, thanks for having
Absolutely.
us.
Tell the audience how
cool.
they can get a hold of you. Obviously, they probably already know, but let them know how they can get a hold of you if they need a carpet.
Carpet.
855
for my guys. That's the Carpet Guys, and
Yeah.
also basement waterproofing in Michigan. Which
And by
is,
the way, I love the fact that they named the company Carpet Guys. Because think about it. You go to the door, and there's the carpet guy. And the kid yells to his mom,
that's
"Ma,
exactly what it was.
Ma,
Carpet guys
the
are
carpet
here."
guys are here."
Yeah.
Right? It's always the carpet guys are here. So that
That's
he's
where
like,
the name came
That's
from.
exactly where it
I
came
know.
from.
I know. It's awesome. So I love the marketing. I love what you guys are doing, and I'm really stoked to see you guys grow and succeed some more. You guys have a
I see a
great team.
commercial coming with that.
What?
The carpet guys are here.
I mean, it's literally how they
There
got the
you
name.
go.
Yeah.
But you know what? We never made a commercial.
That's what I'm
let's
saying.
do
Just
it. All
make
right,
one.
You guys should
done.
make a
Thank you.
commercial on that.
I don't know why that we never thought of that.
That's
but yeah, thank
exactly
you.
who you are. That's who
100%.
you are. So congratulations on all your success. We really
Thank
wish
you.
you the best. Jessica,
You too.
thank you. We really appreciate it.
My
Jessica, thank you
pleasure.
for being here. Everybody.
Doris, thank you for filming.
Oh, yeah, by the way,
Oh,
Doris.
check out the glove.
Doris has been walking around just filming us the whole time. She's been a silent assassin right now. Did you get my angles?
Yeah.
Give me the right angles.
Gotta be like holding
Yeah.
up two weights for like an hour.
yeah, she just thought you're
Joey,
like, her
do
arms.
your pouty lip.
Wow, that's a good
No,
powder.
the other one when you take selfies.
You take selfies, Joe?
No,
The duck,
Yes,
the
he
duck
does.
lip?
no, I don't.
Yes, you do.
The
You
duck
do that
mouth?
all the
Oh,
time.
selfie videos for like
yes.
yeah, okay.
When
You know what I
you're-
like
when
about
you're
Joe?
joking
Selfie king.
around.
You know what I like about Joe? 'Cause if people are from the area, you're East Side till you die. Like you're an East Side. Like we grew up on the East Side, so I know
I'm
exactly.
grubby.
We're
That's
like
cool, man.
We're like the Jersey Shore of
fine.
Michigan.
Ghetto.
You have fun.
We're like the Jersey Shore of Michigan. All right, guys, we love you. Thank you all for listening. Find us on all your podcast apps. This was a lot of fun. Peace out, guys.
CarpetGuys.com.
There you go. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh, I wanted to ring the bell.
You've been